Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell, and it is once again 9 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning, and time for what I hope is one of the highlights of your week, Sales Logic. I'm hanging out here with my co-host, Mark Hunter. Hey, Mark.
Hey, good morning. And what have you been up to? You've been all over the country the last several weeks.
I have. This is I was thinking this is the first episode in a while that I've actually been in my home studio. And I was talking to a colleague of ours yesterday, and I said, "Thank goodness for holidays, because at least things start to slow down just a little bit." It's about to be Thanksgiving Day here in the U.S., and I'm a little grateful that my emails will slow down at least on Thursday.
Well, I had a coaching call scheduled for Thursday with somebody in Europe. And I suddenly realized, you know what? I should probably change that for the sanctity of my family. So,
well, I've got a handyman coming to the house on Thursday, and it's so hard to get people to work in your house. And he said, "Could I come on Thanksgiving?" And I was like, "If you'll come on Thanksgiving all day long."
That must be a family member or something.
Exactly. Well, you know what? JD kind of is like a family member, so we'll count him. We love him. But how about I hit this video and we go ahead and jump into the show.
Prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
It is the Sales Logic, the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to sell more effectively. Mark's going to give you an overview of today's show. The chat is already lit up with what we are going to be talking about today, but here's how the show works. We have a hot topic every single week. Most important part of the show is when we highlight your questions. If you have a question, something you want us to answer on here, always put it in the chat or go ahead and reach out to us on saleslogicpodcast.com. You can enter it there, hashtag it on social media, hashtag saleslogic, and we will jump into it. We always have a book recommendation. And because we want you to get return on investment, you walk away with a lightning round, actions and steps you can put into place immediately. So, Mark, why don't you and Jack Hubbard, because he's already weighed in, tell us what's on tap for the show today.
Well, Jack, you're going right up our alley, because if you're watching this live, it's really Thanksgiving week here in the United States. So the topic is, where does giving thanks, being respectful, and being grateful fit in the sales process? That's the topic we'll be talking about. And let's go ahead and dive right into the question, because the question comes from Susanna from Kansas City. She writes, "We've had an amazing year." Hey, congratulations. "We have hit every goal we have, increased our retention, client depth, new prospect acquisition, and record profitability and growth. I want to say thank you to my sales team, but due to COVID, we are still under travel restrictions, so no awards trip. What other meaningful ideas do you have?"
What a good question. Because, Mark, I don't know if you have bumped into this, but I have bumped into more than a few companies that have come off a record year, especially if they're big companies, but they're still holding back on the awards trips, and that's tough. I mean, how do you balance telling people we've just had a record year and this trip that you count on is not going to happen this year? How do you even begin to make that up? And I think there's a lot of things that you can do. Number one is I want to ask everybody in the chat to start to weigh in too, because you're all phenomenal salespeople. I'm curious as to what you're seeing out there. I want to get to the big stuff eventually, but I want to start small. You really should sit down and write each salesperson on your team a handwritten note about what they have added to the team and how much it has meant to you this year. Years ago, this is back when I worked at First Citizens Bank, and Jack was probably consulting with us at the time. I'll never forget, I was sitting with one of our executive vice presidents in a meeting. We were discussing rewards and recognition. And Pete had been with the company probably 25 years. And he pulled out of his desk a handwritten note that the chairman had written him when he was 3 years into the business, just 3 years into the business, which, if you do the math, meant he had held on to it for 22 years. But the note was more than a thank you. It was specifically around what Pete had done with a client, the difference it had made in the reputation of First Citizens, and how grateful the chairman was that people like Pete were in the company, because that was truly the brand of the organization. And I just think it's powerful that a handwritten note, which seems so simple and so insignificant to us as leaders, but the impact it can have.
That is so true. I remember when I was getting going in my sales career, my boss would send me a note, and he would write it on the top of a memo or something like that. So it would go out to everybody on the sales team, but he'd call at me. And I remember I held on to those for years. I kept those because those were like, wow, that was really, really neat. And then there are times when he would write me that personal note, just like what you, And I'll tell you what, that made more of an impact on me, and in not just my response to him and to the company, but my response as a leader. It really helped shape me as a leader in terms of demonstrating respect to other people. Susanna, you bring up a great issue, and I say the handwritten note. And I'll tell you what, this is something, in fact, I was talking to a person the other day, and they said, well, in lieu of a trip, we're going to give cash. I said, no, do not give cash. Never give cash as, in lieu of the trip, because the cash just gets spent. You got to give them, if you're looking to reward them now, you got to give them something tangible that they can physically hold on to, or, have in their home, something of that nature. It recognizes their performance for that year.
Yeah, I would also say, you may not be able to do an awards trip or something that's a president's club, but is there something, do your restrictions within your organization and your, commitment to keep people safe, does it allow you to do anything on a local or a regional level? Because I think Mark's making such a great point, is that if you can provide people an experience, they'll remember that. And you want to give them something that, is going to live on past the, past the reward. So kind of look at, is there anything that you could do in small pods and in small groups, so that people feel valued? And if you can personalize that a little to what, people in Minnesota may want to be doing something different than people in California, but something that's of value to that team.
Here's an interesting spin on it. You give them a weekend trip or a couple of days away for them and their significant other, whatever. And then the hotel that they're going to. And you have, upon their arrival in their room, you have an exquisite gift with a note from you. Because now, they're doing this trip, they're doing this weekend, deal or 3-day deal, whatever it is, for themselves. But you're there because you sent the note. No, you're not in the room with them, but you've sent the note. and it gives them, oh, wow, it really kind of connects the dots. It's interesting. So many times what happens is rewards don't involve the spouse, the significant other enough. And I'll tell you what, you want to score long-term points, make sure it's relevant to the spouse, the significant other, whoever they're taking, whoever they really, spend the most time with.
I would agree. What a nice comment, Bonnie. I want to make sure Mark sees that. Demonstrating respect to other people. You do it well, Mark, and he does. He does do it well. I think another thing that you can do, and you could do it on a local level, is never underestimate the top person in the company, the chairman, the CEO, the head of the board of directors, making some kind of personal note or recognition of the team and the value that they brought. Years ago, when I worked in corporate, anytime our chairman or our vice chairman would be in town, I would always select 4 or 5 people that I thought he needed to go and visit and thank specifically for the work that they were doing on the team. People want to be valued, they want to be heard, and they want to be recognized. And it means a lot that number one, you as a leader are making sure that your people are shining at a higher level. And it means a lot that I'll never forget the first time it happened to me. And I was like, wow, somebody at this level would stop by and listen to me and thank and realizes what I'm bringing to the table.
And when that leader is telling you thanks, talking to you, whatever, and they're giving you eye contact and they use your first name, wow,
Yeah.
does it make you feel good? It just lights you up. Yes. Love the note there from Adam. Handwritten notes and good penmanship are vanishing acts. Oh, Adam, you're calling me out, man. Please. I mean, yeah, it is. You do. You need to take the time to write that handwritten note, and it is amazing. I've got thank you cards, and I'm embarrassed because I don't use them enough. They're personalized. It's my own stationery, and I don't use them enough. Wow, man, we're getting shamed right here.
Well, the other thing is if your travel restrictions really have you and people feel unsafe, and even if you were going to throw a regional party, people wouldn't come or something like that, then really start to get personal. I mean, I asked, do you as a leader really, really know your team? And Susanna, do you know individually what would be important to them? I don't drink. I never drink at all. And it always amuses me when people send me wine. Because what it says is, well, I appreciate it. It was very nice to do, but it tells me you don't know me at all. And you have to be careful. You have to be careful of those types of things. Like, you may end up sending, peanut brittle to somebody and they're allergic to peanuts, or their child is allergic, to peanuts. You may end up sending chocolates to a health nut. I mean, you need to think about what's important to that person and what would be something meaningful that they would want, and then personalize the gifts. It does not have to be a huge dollar amount. What it needs to be is, was it thoughtful, well thought out, and really shows the person they are valued and important.
Okay, so instead of sending chocolate to Meridith because she's a health nut, send it to me. Okay, I'll be happy to take it. Okay, yeah, I'll be happy to take it.
And send the wine to Mary Kelly.
And send the wine to our good friend Mary Kelly.
Yeah.
You're right. Right. Yeah. You can always tell wherever Mary is going to be traveling. There's a bottle of wine that arrives in her room before she does. So anyway, okay.
She's already sent it to my house.
Yeah, that's right. That's a lot. We'll get into that story here in an upcoming episode. Hey, let's talk about the topic, because when does giving thanks, being respectful, and being grateful, where does it fit in the sales process? I mean, I think it's huge. I think it's important.
Yeah, I think it fits into 3 areas. I mean, number one is you need to be grateful and thankful and appreciative of your customers. You really do. And I think this shows up in the sense that, so funny, I was talking to a client yesterday that they're doing an amazing job of attracting new business. They're not doing a good job of deepening and expanding the existing relationships that they have. And in my opinion, that speaks to a lack of gratitude and thanks. It's sort of like shiny object. I brought the customer in. Now I'm on to the next thing. I think it shows up with team members. Is you need to think about, you don't do this alone as a salesperson at all. I mean, that's always been true, but in today's environment, it's more true than ever. You cannot sell effectively without marketing, without operations, without supplies. And then it shows up to yourself. This is a tough business, and you get rejected a lot more than you get accepted. And so you need to give thanks for the things that you do and you do well.
Yeah, I'll never forget a situation. San Antonio, I was taking a customer out to lunch. We walk into a restaurant, and I open the door for the customer to walk in the restaurant, and I start to walk in, and here's another person just kind of about 10 feet away. And so I just stand there and I hold the door open for them, let them walk in. No big deal. We walk in, we sit down, we have lunch, and I'm looking for the check. And the wait person comes over and says, "Oh, it's been paid for. The gentleman you held the door open for, he bought your lunch." And I smiled at hey, thank you. You didn't have to do that, but it was interesting. And I was just doing something very, that had such a huge impact on that customer, because that customer from that day forward, I mean, the customer liked me and we did a lot of business together, but our relationship went to the next level.
Yes.
I demonstrated just a little act of kindness. It was no big deal. Just held the door open.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how it's these little things that can make such a difference. And more importantly, it changes your own attitude.
I think completely. I think that I think when you are like, if you really started every morning thinking about 2 or 3 customers you're really grateful for, they bring a smile to your face, and maybe you even want to reach out that day and say thank you to them, and then spend a little bit of time during the week saying thank you to those team members who make your job easier and more effective, and then spend a little time reflecting on what you're really doing well as a as a sales professional. Mark makes such a great point. It's going to completely change your attitude.
It changes the dynamics of being respectful and being grateful. You watch. Okay, well, I'm going to talk sports here. Sorry, Meredith, I'm not talking.
Yeah,
not talking
I
golf or
I
tennis.
won't understand the language.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Okay. But you watch a coach on the sidelines go ballistic, and it's amazing how things just spin out of control.
Yeah.
Conversely, you watch the calm coach, even when times are tough, and it's amazing. What do you see? You see the team holding together. You see things. I mean, I go back to a CEO that I had the privilege of getting to know, and he was incredibly gracious. In fact, I called him out on it one time. I said, "You were incredibly gracious." This was an individual who, his company, they had not only the corporate aircraft, but they had the corporate helicopter. I mean, his own security team and everything. I mean, this was a high-ranking CEO, and he made the comment to me. He said, "Mark, you know what's interesting? When I'm nice to other people, I make better decisions." Think about that. This was from a CEO of a Fortune, probably 75 company, maybe even 50 at that time. He says, when I'm nice to other people, I make better decisions. Think about that for a moment. If a CEO can say that, wow, that was one of those little aha moments that, again, changed how I go through life.
Yeah, I love this. I love this idea here from Jack Hubbard. Is I know a bank that sends a donation to the favorite charity of top performers. Talk about personalizing the reward. It's that everybody has causes that they care about, and rather than just having one corporate cause or something like that, you allow people to let their good work be paid off in charities that they that they care about, and causes that are important and personalized to them. What a great idea. I think the other thing, another place that it shows up in sales is, if you are thankful for your customers, they're going to do more business with you. I mean, really, I said at the beginning of this, it's a great week to call people and say, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family. You have a great, meal on Thanksgiving. And I just want to let you know that I'm thankful for you and I'm thankful for your business. And the return on that is going to be huge. They're going to feel appreciated. And I think in today's world, there's so much emphasis on the negative. I mean, social media can be full of a lot of mean things. Certainly the news is full. It's designed to make us angry at the station you're not watching. And that I think that I think it's a great way to differentiate yourself in the sales process. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not doing anything other than saying, thank you. I mean, Bonnie says, right here, it's giving without expecting anything in return. And that's the irony is you get so much in return. It changes how you feel. It changes how people view you. And usually it leads to business.
It's funny, as we're sitting here talking about it, I can't help but think about our good friend, Bob Berg. I mean, he's a master of that. He is just a master. And it's interesting, but we're thinking about this, and I'm thinking about Bob Berg. It's amazing how when you begin thinking about it, suddenly people, and isn't this what you want to be known for?
Right.
Would you rather be known for being grateful and appreciative, or would you rather be known as the jerk?
Right.
I mean, you think about this from a sales standpoint, from just a work standpoint. What I find is, and I'll work with companies, and you can see individuals, salespeople that are struggling to get the support of their teams, struggling to get the support of back office and all those other activities that they need help with, because they treat them so poorly. And if they would just demonstrate respect, if they just show them a little bit of love, it's amazing how much more they would do for them.
But you're bringing such a great point up here though, because you have to catch yourself doing this. Like I'm busy during the day. I've got a lot going on and I'm customer facing more than I'm anything else. And so typically when I interact with my team, it's to ask for something I need or to point out something they've done wrong and I need corrected. That's the truth. And we were working on this and I was writing my blog last week about gratitude and thankfulness. And I thought, I have really got to catch myself more often and find the opportunities during the week just to reach out and not necessarily say thanks, but even reach out and say, this was really good. I appreciate what you did here. So that my ratio to appreciation to correction leans far more towards appreciation.
Oh, that's so spot on. In fact, it's funny. Even before I knew what the topic was that we were going to talk on, I was out on Slack where I communicate with my team, and one of my team members just achieved a really cool award this week. She happens to be going to college, and I called her out to all the other team members, in Slack, and then I went on to say, hey, how appreciative I am, and just talk for a little bit about the team. And you know what? I got done sending it, and I go, that was a great note. I like doing that. Because it was funny because I had to send another note out saying, we got an issue over here and we need to kind of figure it out. But again, not ripping on anybody, let's just figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And the ratio of that is just huge. I think one thing that's really important for anybody listening here today, though, is that to really realize you do not do this job on your own and you need a team. And the more that you invest in being grateful and appreciative to that, then when you need, and we all know this as salespeople, our customers ask us to cut corners. They ask us for favors. They need us to push deadlines and stuff. And if you have invested in those, being that thankful. I think the other thing too is when you hit or surpass your sales numbers and you get that reward, like Susanna is going to give out to her sales team, what are you doing to share that with the people that helped you get there?
So, I mean, again, we have to be able to reach out and help everyone. Sales is not a solo activity. Sales is a team sport. And you better make sure you got people on your team. Hey, time continues to slide on us. We should jump into the book. I'm not familiar with this book. So you gotta tell me and the audience about the book.
Well, it's called The Currency of Gratitude by Michelle Bailey. And I read it a while ago, and I actually gave it to a friend of mine, so I don't have my copy. And I debated whether to use it today. I loved the book, and I'll put it here in the chat in a moment. But because it talked about the currency of gratitude, and I want to make sure that we stay in the gratitude space for the sake of gratitude. But I loved this book because one thing I love about gratitude and thankfulness is when you do the right thing, it pays dividends. You're not doing it to increase revenue, but it increases revenue. There's real, it saves money in the event that people want to work harder for you. They want to follow you. It just investing in gratitude and kindness. There's real currency coming behind that.
And it's just one of those amazing things that accounting has never figured out a way to be able to monetize, but oh well. Yeah. Whatever. So anyway, hey, I'm going to pick up that book. So anyway, hey, let's jump into the lightning round. You ready?
Let's do it.
Top reasons sales professionals should be thankful this year. You're on the clock. Go.
All right. Number one, you made it, baby. It's been 18 months or so since we have been through COVID, and you are still standing. Congratulations. You should be thankful for that.
I think we said that a year ago, and look what happened in 2021. Yes.
That's right.
Hey, you know what? We have so much to be thankful for because we get to serve customers. To me, that makes a difference when we get to help people.
You have figured out this virtual world. You, in a matter of a couple of months, and you figured out how to engage with people, still build relationships, sell deeply, and differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Although more often than not, you're not leaving your office or a video screen.
There are people that you've come in contact with and you've really become very good friends with that you would have ever met had it not been for your job in terms of being in sales.
You've proven how innovative and creative you are, and through these last 18 months, you've really sold. When the economy's hot, we take orders. We're not salespeople. When the economy gets like this, we have to sell. And you dug deep and you figured out the sales strategies.
When I go back to the definition of sales, when I can help somebody see and achieve what they didn't think was possible, man, that lights my trigger. And that's one reason I'm thankful for being in sales.
Yeah, I tell you that you're headed into, the last couple of months of the year, if you're watching this live with us, and be thankful for the time that you've had a good year, you've done well, and it's time to start planning for 2022, and the future looks bright.
And when we get done with this, we got to answer this question because B2B Fusion puts a great question up there on the screen. I got a great answer for you.
I think this is John, right?
Okay, we'll
get
John,
to that.
We will come to this in just a second. The reason you can be thankful is because you have the opportunity to do things in your own life that you never thought would be possible. Sales gives you a tremendous amount of freedom and a tremendous amount of flexibility. Pat yourself on the back for being one of those that can manage it.
You need to be thankful because you are so freaking in demand. Everybody needs good salespeople. This is 2022 is your year. You can name your ticket, you can go anywhere, and you can do anything you want to do.
Hey, I'll share one more, you share one more, and then we'll get to this question from John. I want to say simply this. Sales is the greatest profession in the world. There is no other profession that we get to really interact with so many people across so many different professions, so many different industries. And as a result, we influence and impact people more than probably any other profession out there.
Yeah. And my last one is, rather than say what salespeople should be thankful for, I'm going to say what Mark and I are thankful for. And we're certainly thankful for this podcast and the opportunity to discuss sales. But for most, boy, you guys are incredible. You show up every week, you engage, and we could not be more grateful for that. This is such a great profession. It's important that people know about it. It's important that we continue to attract people into it. It's important that we keep the integrity in sales. And that's really what we're trying to do here as a community, not just the two of us, but with all of you involved. All right, let's hit John's question. How would you suggest balancing thanking your customer, yet, you got to ask for price increases or other concessions given today's environment?
I love this. And there's nothing wrong with it. First of all, John, you know what? You're not going to ask for a price increase. You're going to tell the customer about the price increase. I mean, I hate to be kind of blunt on this, but here's the deal. You're thanking your customer. And the number one thing you want to say is, you know what, in the year to come, we want to make sure that we can continue to deliver for you the great service we've been providing. We want to continue to make sure that we can help you achieve your objectives. In order for us to do that, we will be increasing the price, because otherwise we are not going to be able to really deliver you the service. That's how you frame it up. That's how you tell them.
Yeah. In fact, John, you just give me a really good idea. I think we need to devote an entire episode to how to ask for price increases or other concessions. But pretty much, I think this is a great thing to go together. I mean, it's great for me to say, Mark, thank you. It's been an incredible year. I've loved working with you for the past 5. I'm excited. I'm excited about the future. Just like in your business, as we move into 2022, things are changing. One of the things that is never going to change, other than I'm going to add to it, is the level of service that you're going to continue to get from the company. Our prices are going to increase, and here are the things that you can expect, demand, and be sure of when we work together. So it's a good combination to go together.
And my contract to be co-host of Sales Logic Podcast has just been changed. My fee is now going to be, we'll discuss this after the show. Anyway. Hey, we want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, please consider writing a review, telling a friend, sharing with others what Sales Logic has done for you. Because And in the end, sales logic is really about making it simple, making it easy. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
Thank you for listening to Sales Logic. And remember,
uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
Okay, we're making this up as we go.
I thought, wait a second, that's not my line. I think the thing to remember is put thankfulness, put gratefulness, put kindness into your sales process and watch as it brings dividends. If you're here in the US, hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving holiday. If you're not, just take a little time on Thursday to say thank you to your customers, to your team, and most importantly, yourself. We'll see you next week right here at 9 a.m. Eastern for another episode of Sales Logic. Thank you to our community. We are grateful for you.
Thank you.